for that sweet sound.
Hello. It is episode number 2 of the podcast. Brian Pearcy back with a spicy one. Andrew Hetes, how you doing today, bud?
I am doing fantastic, Pearcy. This is a wonderful Tuesday, probably the second best day of the year for me personally, for Monday Night Lights goaltender Spicy Lettuce, because yesterday we had some events occur. But before we get into those events, we also have a guest with us today.
Guest, possible co-host in the future, who knows? But we're going to welcome in GM of the North Stars, the very loved or hated, depending on what side you are, Troy Otto. How you doing today?
Hey, great to be here. For those of you that checked on Slack, I was a little, not going to lie, a little nervous about my personal safety when I walked into the place. It kind of had a Silence of the Lambs feel to it. So I posted a picture, and if you can't find me, I'll be in the well in the basement. So just come get me. But now that I'm here and feeling safe, I'm happy to be here and to contribute. Pearcy's got an amazing setup. I don't know if the cameras pick it up, but he's got a little rainbow keyboard, disco ball. I mean, it's the real deal in here. So excited about it. I'm going to take my lumps, as a member of the Frontenacs. We lost, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but excited to get it going.
So, Troy, one last thing really quick. Do you always show up to every podcast looking like on point, dressed to the nines? I mean, it's got the dress shirt, the shoes. It looks like you came straight from work, rolled in, and you put the shades on, and got the cool guy. Everything down slick.
As I told these guys, I'm the only real true professional here. I do have one appearance on the Hardcore Mortgage Show on WDFN. So, true professional, got to dress the part.
You're a true professional, but for some reason you keep moving your mouth away from the mic, and I can hear your volume go up and down, up and down. Maybe you're a little bit rusty.
Just testing out the producer. You passed.
So just a couple reminders. We do have a few things. We have the Whoop line. Give it a call. You can leave a voicemail, 714-75-WHOOP. Send us an email, podcast@mnlhl.com. And visit the Twitch channel. I think it's Twitch.com/MNLHL. From there, you should follow us, and you should subscribe. We have some now customized animations going on. If you do those, see what they are. Some reason they might involve some of the autos.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to jump in and help us with our subscription, you want to listen to some more beautiful Monday Night Lights hockey content, jump on the Twitch. Get a subscription going. Get your own personalized auto animation for joining, and then listen to some great podcasts and some great game content.
And we're not quite perfect yet. We were hearing some things. The levels weren't perfect. I've adjusted them, put them up, so I still don't know. It's kind of an adjustment as we go along. We're gonna get better. Sound's gonna get better. Made some adjustment to the feeds, so hopefully we're good to go. We're now on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify. Stitcher. Go to the Monday Night Lights website. There's a link to all of those to subscribe to the podcast. I think right now we're almost at 100 subscribers, so I'm assuming some of those are double ups because I wouldn't want to listen to a podcast about random beer league hockey. I don't know about you guys.
I love random beer league hockey. I listen to actually one in Australia. Some guys in Australia that play. So, I mean, I like to listen to all kinds of podcasts, especially when I'm cutting grass or doing chores.
Completely normal behavior.
Sometimes there's people like us. We don't have much of a life. And, wow, we just got a new follower, Larkin112531.
Thanks, Dylan.
Looks like we got a little bit of a whoop shuffle on the golf course there. So, oh, my God. People are following left and right. I don't know what's going on.
If that was Larkin, probably Athens to see you, his buddy.
Yeah, it was Larkin Hetes. Obviously, D-Boss wants to check in the greatest podcast for Metro Detroit hockey in the area, hosted out of Viking Ice Arena. So,
I mean, yeah, it's a lot to live up with. I think I heard that iTunes is going to be sending us a plaque with that definition. It'll be going up in the studio here. So, moving on to bigger, better things. We're working on some sponsorship deals for the podcast. this might be our full-time job coming up soon. I don't know.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so like I said, we did have a telephone number to leave voicemails on, 714-75-WHOOP. We actually do have a voicemail. I did not really listen to it, so let's see what it has to say. Hopefully this is first test on voicemails. Let's see if it comes through good.
Hello, I am former child beauty pageant star John Benet Ramsey, and if I had a thicker skull, I would also hate D2 Mighty Ducks. But to be fair, if I had a thicker skull, maybe I'd still be alive.
That was extremely weird and uncomfortable. Pearcy dropped that one on us. That was not pre-approved or tested. So
I don't even know what to say. Honestly, that was just abhorrent. Like, never again. Like, that was horrible.
Obviously, that must have been a listener with our Mighty Ducks rant from last time. Mighty Ducks 2 comments. I mean, the Mighty Ducks are a bunch of losers. Thinking about it now, going back to that.
Where's the Drake horn drop?
Coach Bombay was a loser. I mean, he was a partner in a business law firm, which you could say was great, but he was a fucking drunk. He went around, I mean, he probably was on the Target Council, you know, thinking he's some bigwig, and then they put him to coach hockey kids. I mean, this is the bad news bears waiting to happen, and you tell me these kids win a city championship, and next thing you know, they're representing America. Give me a break. These kids are as athletic as Panty Dropper is, and you think we're going to have him represent America? Screw that.
Okay, two things before we move on to the next topic, and now what we need to cover next. First, that's how most districts work. If you win, and like younger associations, I mean, Troy knows he has children, kids that play elite levels. If you win with your team, and you win your district, and then you go and win your state, they just take that state team and they play them in nationals, and then that national team internationals. So that's kind of how things work. So I could see that. I could see that happening. But
You think Magic Coach Bombay, who was in juniors, is going to take a bunch of loser kids and turn them into the best America has to offer? I don't think so.
Fair enough. Anyways.
I was not prepared to discuss this topic.
Anyways, the second thing is I'm just glad you weren't talking about Busta and Turtle, because the Mighty Ducks could be two different teams here, because the Mighty Ducks are still in our league. So fair play to you.
That is fair. Few more things right now. If you want to get involved with the podcast and you're in the league, make sure to send us some messages. We're always looking for more participants. You know, with the draft coming up, we have a lot of players we want to cover. You know, not our schedules can always meet, so the more people, the merrier to get people in here and try to get all these players covered and get ready for the draft July 15th. I don't think a location is quite set yet, but, you know, it's one of the happiest times of the year for Monday Night Lights.
The instant feedback on Slack mirrors my reaction. That voicemail, Panty Dropper said shit just got weird, and I was sitting here like awkwardly uncomfortable during that voicemail. So went off the script a little bit. This is what happens when we let Pearcy ad-lib, but we're learning here. So let's get into what everyone's tuned in to talk about, which is Monday Night Lights.
1 second. First of all, it's not an ad-lib. Someone obviously from the league called in and left that message. You know, we play the voicemails that people want to hear. Was it a bad one? Possibly. Will they get through again? Maybe, maybe not. But let's get on to some news. So first thing of the
First thing of the evening is news and rumors, right?
News and rumors. The first one we're going by is it looks like Leader is not going to be back for the fall. He's getting married. He gets up really early, work involved. So with marriage and all that stuff going on, unfortunately, he's not going to be coming back.
But Monday Night Lights problem is a Worms success story, because I think we're going to scoop up Leader for Fridays for the Worms. So while Monday Night Lights can't have him, we'll still get to see Leader every single week.
Yeah, it's devastating news for me personally, because then I got to deal with a more, why don't we just put Troy in net, you know, till we find somebody. But very disappointing. He fit right in the league skill-wise. I can't help but think maybe, you know, like he came in as like kind of the hot shot, high expectations, and kind of had a lackluster fall followed by a lackluster spring. And then it's like, maybe I'm just, bail on the league. So I think it might have been performance related. Of course, he's never going to admit that. But definitely hurt. Then Pearcy lined up 2 replacement goalies last night, and neither of them showed up, so that was a real drag. So all hands on deck. We got to find a goalie.
Yeah, that was kind of the 2 guys I talked to. Never met them before in person. I just heard they play goalie. I reached out to them. One was like, yeah, I'm in. Great. Seems super fired up. No shows today at work. The guy ignored me, so he think he'd like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come play with you. I send him a text about where we're playing. You think the guy would at least be, hey, sorry, something happened. I fell asleep. Emergency came up. Nope, the guy, no communication at all. As far as I know, he's out. The other guy, still a possibility. He said he wasn't available that night. Apparently, he's played goalie as a fill-in. Apparently, he played college hockey, I think in Iowa or Iowa State. Apparently, a really good athlete. He borrows pads right now, but he's talking about getting a full set. I'm going to reach out to him, see if he's available in the next week or 2. But if there's anybody out there who knows goalies, start reaching out. See if we can line them up for these next couple of skates.
Yep. And I promise this is going to be my last Pearcy serial killer joke of the night. But I do think my theory on the first guy was like, Pearcy kind of put him on the spot, and he's like, oh, fuck, I better say yes to this guy, or something bad's going to happen, and then he freaked out, and now he hasn't shown up the next day, So that's my theory on that one. But last joke of the day about Pearcy, because he's done a nice job here. But all hands on deck, we need to find a goalie.
And that brings us up to the next one, and I know you've kind of already asserted this, Troy, but welcome back to net, buddy.
Does that mean are you gonna get like the full brand new set too with the 4 screen in yellow? What color are the North Stars? Are you gonna color coordinator? Are you just gonna strap on the old Bauer pads if you have to play?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be a huge letdown if I was forced to play goalie. I just kind of lost the passion for the position. Anyone who's watched me play in the goalie in a handful of times, can see that. But I would say that getting new gear might be the only kind of cool thing about it. I got a 1984 Bauer starter set, so maybe with some new, pads, my production would go up. But, I don't know. I would think I'd be robbing the league of, a true sniper if they put me back in between the pipes,
Quick question for you. Put you on the spot. Who has less passion, you for goalie or Todd for hockey?
Well, I think we're going into a big.
That's a big spicy bomb.
Oh, you can make the Pearcy jokes left and right, but I can't go after the autos at all.
No. I think Whoop showed up in playoff time. Sadly, we'll get to that later, but he showed up when it count, got the W. But I think Whoop he's taken a big step towards this, but he's dealing with some weight gain. So I don't think it's a lack of passion for hockey. I think it's just like getting his big ass motivated to get out of the house. And so hopefully we can lose some of that weight, passion goes up, etc. So I would say my passion, I don't like to duck any questions, so my passion for goalie way lower than Whoop's passion for hockey. Honest answer.
Next item on the agenda, Justin Wright last week, he high ankle sprain. Looks like he's going to be out for summer. 8 to 12 week injury. Going for an MRI this week from what I'm hearing. Hopefully it's nothing worse.
Wow. I did not know that. I've been jumping in Hetes, so I'm going to let him get in here. But full disclosure, and I might be the only one who's willing to say it on the airwaves, but I'm not the only one who thought it. When Wright went down, my initial reaction is like, oh, shit, Wright's faking again. Embellishing, but this is devastating news. I didn't even know that until we just hit the air. That's very sad. Hope he's okay.
Yeah, Wrighty, honestly, in my opinion, was one of the best or most improved players in the spring for the lower draft picks. The guy played lights out. I think he got a goal against me in one of the early Frontenac games, and I was like, Justin, where'd you get the hands? So silky smooth. And then to see the injury him to go down in that playoff game really kind of sucked because he hit those boards hard. So for him to be out, it's not good, obviously, for his draft stock, but more importantly, it's not good for the league, and no one wants to see someone be injured like that. Hopefully he can come back and still be his former self and keep the trend going upwards.
Bad trend for MNL. I mean, I feel like we've been snake bit for the injury bug. We've had more than our fair share of injuries, which is not good. And I believe Wright won Most Improved Dickie Dunn, very prestigious award, and it was well earned.
Yeah, it's definitely not a fun thing. When he got hurt, me and him were going in the corner together and kind of...
Oh, I forgot we had the assailant in the room.
He fell into me. I don't think he thought it was a dirty play. If anything, I was a step ahead of him, but you still feel bad. You don't want anybody to be hurt, and when you're near them in that during that time, it just makes you feel worse. I think even like Rubel was saying the other day, Ben took that one off his shoulder or collarbone. And, it's a slap shot. Things are going to happen. It wasn't his fault, but he still felt horrible about it. No, everybody wants to be healthy in the league. We want everybody else to be healthy in this league. It's never a fun thing. Hopefully the MRI will show it's just a sprain. Everything will be good, and he'll be ready again. Because like we've all said, I think we have seen improvement in Justin. A lot of it, hands are looking better, and a lot of it is he's playing a better style of game for how he's built, how his style is, where his skills are. He's getting in that net more. He's cleaning up those rebounds. He's getting those passes coming across from him, and he's finishing. So his skill is going up, and he's playing a smarter game for how he's built.
I agree. He's lost some weight, too. That always helps.
Yeah. Next one, I'm going to throw this over to Hetes because I have heard nothing about it. But Sips possibly with a wrist injury again.
Yeah, so after speaking to Sips last night in the Labatt Blue Party Deck post-game, Mr. Sips reported that he had to get some screws in his wrist. And from looking up some symptoms and timetables online, that's probably like a 12-week plan. So in time for Monday Night Lights in the fall, but that does suck that you have to go to multiple orthopedic surgeons or orthopedic doctor's offices and get different opinions. One says you're good and clear to play on it, make it worse, and now you got to get pins in it. That's brutal. So, and Sips is another guy that anytime he's healthy, he's a grinder on that second line. Headmans the puck, and it's hard to take away from between his weeble wobbling and his dangling. So it's kind of tough to see some guys in the league kind of go down with injuries. But the good thing is we're between spring and fall now, so hopefully we can get these injuries cleared up and ready to rock for October.
Yeah, and he's had wrist problems in the past as well. So I know
Speculation on the cause of the wrist injuries.
I didn't get the exact. I think it was him playing just a week or prior to before.
That went over. I guess apparently Lettuce doesn't masturbate because that joke went over his head.
I wasn't thinking that. Now we have a soundbite too.
That is bad news for the Sips, man. I like to have fun with Sips on Slack, but Sips is an effective player for his role. He definitely has his game. Second grind line center. Not the prettiest of player, but he gets it done. So as a player who's also not pretty, but mildly effective, Sips has a special place in my heart. So hope he's okay and bounces back for the fall.
And that doesn't even go into the fact that apparently he also has a broken foot as well. So his wrist is hurt. He's had, I believe, surgery on it once before. He always wears those wrist guards. I think he hurt it in the fall falling down, and he was out a large part of the fall. And now that's hurt again with a broken foot. There's a lot of bad luck there that I wouldn't want to put on anybody.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm just updating my draft rankings here.
Yeah, so next we're going to be going to our spicy rumor of the week brought to you by Andrew Hetes.
Cue the ESPN. Din-in-it. So, Andre Wheat's Monday Night Lights Hockey League Insider Rumor of the Week. Apparently, there was a 3-team trade in the talks among some spring teams with the possibilities of the names being Tigers, Ducks, Deeks, North Stars. But between one of those 3 out of those 4 teams, we're looking to move a bottom 3 goalie pick for some mid-rounders and maybe do the first Monday Night Lights 3-team trade in history, which would have been excellent to see because we haven't had a 3-team trade yet. So the talks have died down. The third team apparently didn't want to move the lower pick per se for their lower goalie pick. They kind of wanted to hold on to it. So maybe these whispers will be quiet down, but there may be more coming before the draft. The closer we get to the draft, so we'll have to see how the 3-team trade works out. Possibly it doesn't. Maybe a 2-team trade. So you get two partners to dance together. It's always tough trying to trade Monday Night Lights because everybody always expects the world of their other team's players and undervalues their own and vice versa. So
yeah, I think we all know that Mr. Troy Otto over here, he loves to trade. He hates the benders. He's always looking to make a deal and improve that team. Panty dropper, he's not happy with where his selection is. I've been hearing about wheeling and dealing. When it comes to the Ducks, man, those guys don't pull the trigger on anything. They don't have the stones to make a deal.
I mean, you called out the Money Ducks earlier today. I thought it was Bust Up. Apparently, it was the movie. So
I will say that Pearcy, a little short memory there. The first kind of blockbuster trade in MNL history was the North Stars, no coincidence, with the Ducks. Did the swap for the first round pick, and they took Sugar and Pete show, and it resulted in a greatest regular season team in history for the North Stars.
Seals, first year.
I think we
Starline.
I think the facts show that the North Stars were the better regular season team. But in any event, the Ducks did pull the trigger on that one. I don't think that they're involved. I think the Ducks are sitting pretty right where they're at. They're happy at number 3. They get to pick their buddy Sugar. And then their goalie position, I don't think it's ideal, but it's not in that danger zone. So I think if there's going to be some movement, it will be with the Nordiques, the North Stars, and the Tigers. But it's all just kind of up in the air still. This little leader wrinkle also has kind of stalled things because obviously we don't know who the 7th MNL goalie will be. So that kind of puts the pause button on any trade talks.
I may have a guy, Panny. I've been in the works with Panny. Dave P knows him. Mr. Nelson, his last name's Nelson. He's a good guy. He plays the D1 League on Troy Friday nights. He's kind of had some shoulder issues, though. So after he gets his MRI, he'll know more in about 2 or 3 weeks whether he can commit or not. But the big thing about Mr. Joe Nelson, is the guy's style game is on point. And if you're playing goalie, you don't have to be good in Monday Night Lights, but you gotta look the part. You gotta look fresh. You gotta look spicy. You gotta look like you just came out of the shower ready to rock. Like it's just you gotta look good, and that's the big thing. I like about Joe is he's got the full custom Bryans, gray and white, slick paint job on the bucket.
I don't give a shit about how you look as a goalie. I want you to stop the fucking puck, get me a win, because I know if I'm playing defense, I'm probably, leaving you out to dry a couple times a game, and I need you to come up big for me. I don't care how good you look.
That's expected. So.
I just want somebody to show up so I don't have to play goalie. Rook's gym is, getting a serious look right now. Love you, Rooks.
So, Spring League. We just had our championship game. Troy, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I don't think that's fair. I came here, certainly wasn't going to pull dodge
just
the
give me a
bullet.
score and a quick recap. I don't want to play
No.
Alexa, play Gloria.
Yeah, no. I'm happy and I'm looking forward to discussing the topic, but I think it's only fair to let the champion, who's well earned to my left, Spicy Lettuce, he won, so he can give his recap, and then I'll go with mine. So cheers.
Oof. So yesterday, Monday, some spicy talk from Troy, some other members in the league, some spits talking back. There's a big game headed into that night. It was game 1 of the possible 2-game championship series between the Spits and the Frontenacs. The Spitfires ended up winning the game 4-2 off of 2 third-period goals. One by Mr. Joe Ellis after he comes back after 7 games out, strolls into the lineup, picks the puck up in the zone, puts it in the net, and puts the team on the back for the 3rd goal in the 3rd period for the go-ahead. I think there was goals by Mr. Jack Serta was the first goal of the game. He also got a second one for the empty netter. Can't remember. Peso got the 2nd goal. And then Andy Fem got the 2nd goal for the
Jesus, this is the
Frontenacs.
worst. I was going to let
And
him have the
first
recap, but he's botching the whole thing.
Nobody cares about the recap. The fact is
Peso had the 2nd goal. Joe Ellis with the game-winning 3rd goal.
That's what I said. I just did out of order.
yeah, but either way, the Spitfires,
Retracting back.
they're the spring champions. Congratulations to them. I think you said, Mr. Hetes, this is your first championship as a goalie. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, I am 50% batting average right now. So I'm in 2 championships, and I've won 1 out of 2. So can't complain.
Not bad. So one of the things looking back on spring must be nice. They made a couple of trades, and I kind of feel like they swung the league.
Is that all we're going to talk about the game? I mean,
what do you have to say?
Championship game. I mean, I had a lot to say. Well, first of all,
why don't you tell me what you have to say?
First of all, the Joe Ellis, not to get off topic, but as he said, hasn't played in months. Shows up. I'm expecting him to be, average because he's been nothing but. He's basically just been average. I think if Joe were here, he would admit that he's been average to below average. comes up with the new flavor of the month. He's got a blondie in the stands. No one's seen her before, and it must have fired the guy up. He was skating like a 20-year-old out there, and then he comes in and he scores the game winner. So cheers to Joe Ellis. I don't think anyone was expecting that. My take on the game, unfortunately we get down 1-0. Never a good feeling, but we battle back. Dave P with a nice spicy goal on Mr. Hetes here.
Bardowski.
Yours truly, I got a forecheck from Serta, ring it up to Rattler to Dave P, skates past the little whoop, 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 the top shelf, 1-1.
So you're saying that goal was all because of you?
I was a second assist, so I'll take it. But anyways, then we go into the third. I think the game was pretty even. Then Peso scores to make it 2-1. It's like there's only about 7 minutes left in the game. I'm like, oh shit, kind of have that sinking feeling. Andy Fem comes, I think, right off the next face-off, scores immediately to get it back. It's 2-2, and at that point you're like, oh shit, that's nice. It's always nice to get that answer like immediately. So I had a pretty good feeling about the whole thing, and then Joe Ellis comes down and scores the go-ahead goal, and then we pull the goalie, empty netter, game over. So definitely disappointing, but Spits deserved it. I think that highlights for the spring for the Spits, probably the best value draft pick was Cone. He was he made their second line, a strength instead of a weakness, kind of all year. He was consistent playmaker, and then I think that was probably their best pick. Solid goaltending, and Dougie Fresh did a great job. So tip my cap to him.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that happened. Just got production out of everybody that we needed to, out of the guys that weren't expected production out of. I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I made the saves that I needed to, and my team gave me easy shots to take. So it's always easier to play in front of a good defense than it is playing in front of a bad defense. Regardless of the opponents you're playing against. And got to tip my cap, like you said, to Dougie. Dougie played great, and then he also drafted a fantastic team. And having our entire team there for the first time in, like a month was great. So shout out to the Spits for being the It's Just Spring 2019 champions. I do also want to throw a little back in your face here, though, Troy, because they get yesterday said that they would get an upgraded net with Flo playing. And I just happened to be playing instead, even with a possible MCL sprain, and we won 3-2. So I'm gonna.
They probably would have won 3-1 if Flo was in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, they won. To the victor goes the spoils, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Hetes said it correctly. He made the saves that he was supposed to. Before the show went on the air, I was like kind of thinking like, what kind of great save? I don't think he had one like great save, but he made the saves that he was supposed to make, and they got the W. I will say, I'm going to preface this by just saying that every goalie in the league is better than me, okay? So, but I do think that Cam, when I'm evaluating goalies, I'm sitting there with the number 2 pick in the draft, and we're going to get to the draft. I'm sitting here between Cam and Hetes. Cam played fantastic in the Stanley Keg Finals. He almost put the North Stars on his back to win that. He played exceptional in Game 2 and in Game 3. So I thought it was kind of like a no-brainer. I was kind of, for the fans, I was kind of pretending that there was a decision to be made between Cam and Hetes, but in my mind, I was like, I'm taking Cam. But being honest, it's like that first goal of the game, like I don't know exactly what was going on there, because sometime a wraparound, I thought Cam had, enough time to kind of get over to the post, but he didn't. And then Peso goal, Peso's got a good hard shot. Don't think he saw it. But then that third goal, again, it's a turnover. You can't blame it on the goalie. But if you're trying to win a keg, whether it's a fall keg or a spring keg, it's a save that you'd like to see your goalie make. So definitely not the reason we lost, but I don't know. I'm sitting here. Maybe Spicy Lettuce is a North Star. We'll see.
Could the fans at home imagine having Pete, myself, and Troy all on the same team? I don't think there'd be a Slack channel. There'd be so much chirping. It'd be the worst. You can't draft me, Troy. It'd be awful.
Oh, I already know. That's an implosion waiting to happen. That's the North Stars of a couple of years ago where, oh, we got the President's Trophy, no problem. We're on a roll. First round out. I'd love that. I can't wait to see it happen. I'm seeing it now, but realistically, 3 goalies, I think it's tough. Those 3 guys, the top 3 guys. Hetes' biggest weakness right now is actually getting out on the ice on time before the Zamboni's off and the puck drops. I think we need to work on that a little bit. Besides that, you know, get in your head sometimes if you let up 1 or 2, but besides that, I think you're solid all around.
Oh, by the way, real quick, and because we're running out of time, we don't want to drag this on too much, but Joe Brennan, expensive night, broke 2 hockey sticks on the net. You know, so I'm guessing unless he got those off the clearance rack, I mean, that's about a $250 night. So, you know, he's a competitor. He's, you know, when you're the GM, you know, you feel an extra. I think Pearcy can agree with this now that he's had the experience. Like, we're all competitive just as a player status that you want to win. But when you are a GM, there's like another added layer of responsibility. And I think Brennan felt that, and it kind of boiled over, and snapped 2 sticks on the ice.
Super quick, I've seen a couple comments about bringing up the chat. Based on the software and me only being a guest to be able to stream, not essentially having full control with that account, I am not able to bring up that chat. So as much as I'd love it, I don't have that ability as of right now. But because of our time, we're already at a half hour. Let's move on to we had a second game last night. In some weird ways, it's almost the main event because we had 5 guys that are joining the league skate in that game. So, you know, we're all excited about the 7th team joining. We got a bunch of new people, and we got a bunch of new players. So let's just do a quick little profile on each one of those guys that played last night, and then we'll probably take it home. So
sounds good.
First one, potential number 1 draft pick. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Mr. Tarzan, Matt Taylor. You were in net last night. What did you see out of him?
Matt Taylor did what he normally does. He had manned the puck, or he passed open players, or he made smart plays, or he scored goals, or he back-checked, or he pretty much did what good hockey players do. Just played good hockey. So, I mean, talent-wise, I think all the league has their own personal rankings. Talent-wise, he may be the best guy in the league next to Proctor, so they're both kind of neck and neck. Every person has their own private opinion, but yeah, Matt Taylor got 1 or 2 against me yesterday, definitely, on a couple breakaways. He's got silky hands, so I'm not going to fret giving up a goal to Matt Taylor.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good, and I felt like he was holding back. I didn't see him really skate hard. I mean, he wasn't Proctor level dogging it, but oh
my God.
You know, I felt like he had more in the tank. I didn't see like a super explosiveness, but he did what he had to do. He produced, you know, he set people up for goals. He scored a couple goals. I like what I saw. Definite first round pick, you know, probably top 2, top 3, no matter what. I could definitely see him going number 1. I'd just like to see him play a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll say that he's played in the league a couple times, but I had never had the opportunity even to see him. So I was a little surprised, like when I came out there and, you know, you see these new people. I'm like, which one's Taylor? And I wasn't expecting the bubble. I wasn't expecting the flow, you know. So definitely was a little surprised just by the appearance. Because Chris is so like kind of straight laced, you know, like silent assassin type. So definitely was a little thrown off there. But I agree with Pearcy as well. The talent is apparent, but I do feel like there was more there, and it's just kind of drop in. You don't want to be like a jerk or anything. So it'll be interesting. You know, he's a good player. I don't think you can go wrong with Taylor or Proctor. So he lived up to the billing. I will say, though, if you just walked into that arena not knowing who he was and you're just casually watching, you wouldn't be like, holy shit, this guy's the top player in the league, you know. But I think that was by design. I think he was probably skating about 80% out there.
It did make me feel slightly better hearing the stories about the legend of Matt Taylor already growing so high. It was just like, where's our league going? Are we getting closer to a high-level D league, or are we trying to make it so everybody can be competitive within the league, have fun, and have a good time? Obviously, he's a really good player, but maybe it's in him to do it, but it wasn't like, oh, shit, that guy's a B-league player. We're all in trouble, and he's just going to run the league.
We'll find out. Time will tell. Who do we got next?
Next guy would be my favorite player out of the new guys, Dave Judge.
Judge, yeah. Again, never seen him play before. Had a little reputation. He's Skillman's boy out of Onyx. I think he fit the reputation to a T. Talented guy, defenseman, can move the puck, jumped in the play, can definitely be a little nonchalant. And again, it's drop-in style, so you don't know exactly what the compete level will be, but the talent is apparent. Playmaking defenseman, and he looked good out there, no doubt about it. He's definitely, I think, could see him going as high as 8 or 9, and I'd be shocked if he slipped lower. I mean, if he's there in the second for Skillman, I think Skillman would scoop him up at 13. So I think he'll go somewhere in that 8 to 13 range.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with Troy to a degree as well. He could go anywhere from like that late second until I feel at lowest early fourth, late third. He's in that frame of like 10 picks or so. He's got hands. He can pass. He was able to kind of pickpocket Taylor sometimes, as well as Shawnee a couple times. The big thing I noticed with him, I mean, I know it is a drop in, just like Matt Taylor and some other guys there. Most people were in third gear, but he didn't really seem to have a next level gear, kind of. So he had everything but like the speed, but maybe he's just kind of holding back. So
a little worried about the visor too. Anytime I see especially a defenseman with a visor, I'm like, oh, is he going to be soft? So I definitely have some concerns. Like when the lights come on, is he actually going to? If I draft him as my defenseman, you're going to get some offense, but is he going to compete and be a shutdown D man?
He reminded me a lot of a rich man's Marvin. He's like this kind of similar player as like Marvin, maybe just a little bit silkier hands, maybe a little bit silkier of a shot, but
I had him ranked probably just off the top of my head, mid-third round to mid-fourth round guy. Came into the rink last night, goes over to him, introduces himself, says hi. He starts introducing himself. He starts talking. One of the first things he says is, I listened to the podcast. I'm like, I love this guy already.
Oh, wow.
What a beauty. What a beauty.
Yeah.
Hey, hasn't even joined the league. He doesn't know who anybody is, but yet there's a podcast here. I'm going to give it a listen. I don't know what the heck's going on.
Hey, I didn't know that, but yeah, that's a big plus.
Yeah, our next guy on the list is a brother of everybody that we are all close to, Mr. Honey Bear, Eric Lepoudre's brother, Matt Lepoudre.
Yeah, that was I really got a kick out of Lepoudre. He is just I'm assuming he's younger. I don't know if that's true, but he's just a kind of a younger, skinnier version of his brother. He skates they have the same mannerisms. They do this little thing with this little V with their feet and this little Lepoudre push off, and they both do it. They have like the exact skating style, but just a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker, and I thought he was good. I think he'd be a nice, solid. He maybe not in that top tier demon, but just he'd be a great second defenseman on any team. So I think that probably slots in about the 5th round would be my guess. But he was
think
good.
That's pretty fair. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be scary and great at the same time to see Eric shave, and all of a sudden he looks like he's 25 for all we know, or he could look like he's 40 when he's shaved. I don't know, but yeah, definitely he's a little bit lighter. Seemed like he had a little bit better endurance, but a very similar player to Eric. I have him ranked. He's probably close to like a Brawny, in that range. So
I think that's
similar
fair.
comparison. He maybe has a little bit better motor than a Brawny. So with a couple more skates, I see the potential of going right in that level, possibly right ahead of a Brawny.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely can move his feet. I mean, he had a couple backwards crossover, quick pump. It was good.
Yeah, our next guy on the list would be Brian Edge. He was a guy that he plays defense. He wants to play defense. I skated with him the whole time as a pairing. He seemed like a very smart player, defensive oriented, is in the right spot at most of the time. Like I said, we've never played together, but yet we had that chemistry of kind of knowing where each other would be. If one guy flips over, the other guy flips over. So to me, he seemed like a very smart hockey player who has good skills. He's probably slightly after a Matt Lepoudre, but definitely a solid guy.
I don't know about that. I feel Mr. Edge is I feel like he's maybe a little better than Lepoudre, just because I saw him come down and shoot me a couple times. Now Lepoudre was playing defense in front of me last night, so while I get to sit back and quarterback some more. Having Mr. Edge come down and shoot me a couple times, I feel he's kind of the opposite coin of Judge to a degree, where like he has a little bit more a little bit more like skating ability, but he may not have his elite like vision, like backdoor like plays, kind of like Proctor and Judge had last night. So him and Judge, I feel, are going to probably go in the same round within around 4 or 5 picks of each other, maybe 4 picks of each other. I feel they're both kind of the same side of the opposite coin, whereas Mr. Judge is an offensive defenseman. As they say, Ryan's a defensive-oriented defenseman first, like you mentioned, Pearcy, and with the ability to shoot deep from the point with a hard shot.
Yeah, there's no question that Serta is sitting here cringing. I have no doubt in my mind that Edge was under strict orders to tank it last night. Edge doesn't know anybody in the league except for Serta. Serta's trying to make him out like a 6th or 7th rounder. He hasn't skated in years. Edge rolls out in his true skates, $1,000 custom skates. He was the captain of the Notre Dame high school team, so the guy can play. I think Serta was trying to sneak him in, like they're gonna get him in like the 5th or 6th round. It's like, so that's done. So if Serta wants him, he's gonna have to draft him at value. So I think because there was a couple times he actually he rushed the puck a few times, like, whoa, where'd that come? And he's like, oh shit, Serta told me I'm not supposed to skate. And then he kind of turned it back down, but there's something there with him. So I think he's in that discussion in the 4th, 5th round type deal.
He also seemed like a good guy. He was chatty on the bench. He was chatty in the locker room. Seemed like he was trying to get to know people. So seemed like a good guy. Yeah, I think Serta sounds like he is trying to hide him. But yeah, I liked him. Be a real good defensive partner. Probably he could possibly be your number 1. You'd love him as your number 2 guy on there. But
yep.
If he's going in the 4, he's probably going to have to be your number 1 guy.
Yeah. I will say, too, similar to Judge, it's like I took a little shot at him on Slack. Not a shot. I kind of complimented him on his fancy skates. He popped right in there. So it's good. I like the guys that are fully immersing themselves in MNL and participating in Slack. So it's good.
Cue the rumors. North Stars are on the horizon with Mr. David Judge and his $1,000 skates.
That's Edge. Edge has...
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Judge has 1984 Bauer Vapors. I actually commented in the Labatt party deck. I'm like, if I draft you, do you have some room in the budget for new skates? So we'll see.
I thought the North Stars had budgets for upgrading players' equipment. Weren't you going to be buying Cunningham a new stick if you draft him?
That is definitely. I did not. That was my little secret. I didn't want anybody else to know that. But if Cunningham falls to me in that 2nd round, he's definitely a player on my radar. And my first order of business would be to buy the asshole a composite stick and break his wood stick so he can score some fucking goals.
It's a big scam.
Yeah. So last player of the night. I think a lot of us actually already know the guy, Mr. AJ Powers. He's a K-Felk. A lot of times he's been filling a little bit here and there. Defenseman, very, very solid skater. He's got a little bit of speed. He's right in the range of these other guys. I actually think he might be a little bit below these guys. He has a little bit more offensive game than I think these guys, but I think one of his weaknesses is knowing when to take the puck up. A lot of times he'll lose that puck, or the situations that he does, he'll actually get his defensive partner into trouble, and it'll lead to goals going down at the other end.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen AJ play enough. I have a pretty good handle on where he is. This is kind of the tricky part of when you add new guys. It's like the new guys are like kind of the shiny new toy, so you kind of get excited about the new guy. Whereas a guy like AJ, his game, so you've been around him, so you kind of know his weaknesses. So it's kind of got to be careful with your evaluation not to get too enamored on the new guys. But AJ's going to be a nice player for anybody. Again, similar to these guys, if you probably don't want AJ as your number 1 defenseman, but he could serve that role. But you'd be very happy to have him as your 2nd or 3rd defenseman on the team.
Yeah, from what I saw last night, Mr. Powers was definitely a complimentary defenseman. To my opinion, with LePoudre, if you had two complimentary defensemen together, it's almost like you don't need a number 1 defenseman if they're both have some really good speed and can both play headman the puck. So I feel as a number 2 defenseman, he could be like a Chris Chelios kind of type, Matthew Schneider kind of type, where he walks the puck across the blue line in the power plays, gets a shot in, can pass to the offensive Proctor and let Proctor do his thing or something, or hit right back door or hit Hal back door or something when he's got a stick down. So I kind of like seeing him as maybe a second complementary defenseman overall on your team. That'd be great.
AJ's also one of those heart attack guys where he likes to show up about 5 minutes before game time. So you're like, is he going to show up? Is he not? I'm not 100% sure. And he had a little bit of a run of no call, no show, like falling asleep. The last 2 years or so, he's been money, but you always had in the back of your head, what's he going to do? But he is overall reliable, but you never like those guys. Kind of like Hetes. Is he going to make it on the ice on time?
Yeah. I mean, I make it on the ice on time every time, baby.
I will say that
Friday?
I will say that AJ is also like he's got a little compete/mean streak to him that you don't really expect, but I've seen him like kick it up a notch, and this is kind of in like the Friday Night League, and Troy's subbed a couple times. Like, oh shit, this guy's got a little gumption to him. So underrated, feisty guy. So Powers is high on the North Stars board.
Yeah, gotta love him. So we're getting close to wrapping this up. Any guys in spring, just real quick, I want to do this quick. Anybody that's really jumped up or fallen on your guys' boards?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter because he's back in the pipes. But I think Cone had a great spring. I mean, that everybody knows that. Pistol Pete, it's like him and Andy Femme came out gangbusters in the kind of the regular season, but similar to the fall when it's playoff time, Pistol Pete didn't put the puck in the net. And that's, he had some tough, he always has the hardest matchups, but, he's your number one guy. If you're going to win, you need him to score. So, but is his draft stock going to change? Probably not. In Pete's mind, he thinks that he's like a viable option for 2 or 3 overall, but there's no chance that Taylor and Proctor aren't going 1-2. There's no chance that Busta's not taking Sugar. So his draft stock is solidified. He will be a North Star, and that's going to be interesting.
Unless you trade.
Barring a trade, but if no trade, he'll be a North Star, and we'll, try to, achieve that elusive keg together. But I'd say that's kind of stock down. Dave P, stock high. I would tell anyone that will listen, though, a lot of this production is coming in the second line with Rattler on his left. So whereas Pete gets the tough first line matchup, Dave P's out there against the second line benders, and he's got Rattler with him, and he's putting the puck in the net. So definitely stock up for Dave P, but definitely a little asterisk, just buyer beware.
Do you buy at all that Dave P has started to learn to shoot because he's going to his son's hockey practice? I do. I'm buying on that to some degree. He actually, would shoot the puck a little bit, and every once in a while it goes in, So we'll see. Stock up on Dave P. But again, if Dave P was on that top line, is he going to produce? I don't think so. But if you can get him late enough and he's slotted into that second line, I think that's right where you want him.
I think you chose kind of 2 of my guys that are stock up or stock down. For me, the other 3 on my kind of top 5 list, I had Andy Femme. I hadn't seen him play before. His first season playing in spring. You kind of notice the Frontenacs lack a little bit of their bite when he wasn't in the lineup. When he wasn't in the lineup, they would get goals, and he made Pete look better overall. To me, people have Pete over Femme. I would flip-flop it. I would put Femme over Pete. He's just a younger Pete, in my opinion, and can score goals sometimes more. Nothing on Pete, because Pete's a great player, too, and can shut down forwards. But I'd flip-flop those 2. And then I'd also seen Mr. Wright before his injury. For a lower-end draft pick, your 9-10, he was playing lights out this spring. He was sat in that second line with Dave P. and Rattler, and he contributed a lot and did a lot of work there. So it kind of sucks to see him with an injury. It'd be great to draft him late in rounds and see kind of how the injury plays out. But he's out. He would be on my radar if I was a GM. And then other guy I liked seeing a lot was Peso. Kind of always underneath the radar. He's the guy you always trade first on your team for some reason. But Peso, his game has kind of been elevated the past, I want to say, 6 months. I saw some games from Djibouti when he was on Twitch in the finals. I saw some games when this season when I'm sitting back there playing goalie quarterback, and he's always got that like one trick he does this year, and that wasn't that one trick. He had like trick 2 or 3, put it behind his back, take it to the net. So I think Peso's stock could have gone up a little bit here for some GMs.
So for me, my stock up would be Nick Myers. Apparently he hasn't drank in a couple months, probably gotten a little bit better shape. He's been looking good out there. He's a player for me over the last couple of years where one game, you're like, he's starting to find it. It's clicked for him. He knows what he's doing, and the next game he'll disappear. Well, coming this spring, it's been on pretty much the whole time. I feel like he's jumped up a couple rounds there. I think my stock down would be Paul Proctor. I mean, another spring come and go. No mini keg. I mean, it's time to pick it up. It's time to start training again. I don't know what's up with that guy.
You can't say Paul Proctor's stock is down when he's the reigning Monday Night Lights champion. He's quite literally like Troy, like Troy hero, like some Greek hero god. I mean, he's won 3 out of 3 seasons he's played so far. So it's like
you say that, but what are we talking about? We're talking about Matt Taylor as a possible number 1. If you don't go number 1, your stock is down.
Yeah, I see. I see what Pearcy's saying. I also see what Hetes is saying. It's like, but to me, you're the champ until you're not. So, regardless of who's drafted 1 or 2, it's like it's Proctor's league until he's dethroned. But I will say I agree with Pearcy to some degree. He's definitely got some floaty tendencies and blah blah blah. But I think that's just all part of his process. I think some of us say it's just spring and mean it like it's just spring, and others are say it's just spring, but they're just as competitive as ever. I definitely fall in the latter category. To me, it's not just spring. It's like I'm competitive and I want to win every time. I think Proctor's just like, shit, it's spring. It's like, I'll let somebody else take a crack at winning.
And in all seriousness, let's not forget, Proctor's really just over a year away from that injury where last year he was still the best or one of the best guys out on the ice. And he was still coming off that bum ankle, or I don't know what the injury was exactly, but you hear guys ACLs, all those injuries, they come back, they're mediocre that first year. Next year, they're back to normal. So, maybe with a little bit of motivation going on to try to step up your game, step up your cardio, plus you get that confidence back in your leg and you can go all out again. All of a sudden, Matt Taylor, who? This is my league, baby.
Yeah, we'll see. And I just want to say one thing because I know we're definitely ran over on time. Hopefully some people are still listening. But I just want to say before we forget, next week, with the one benefit of the Spitfires, winning, is that we have that ice available for evaluation. So hopefully we get a lot of the new guys that we haven't seen. So then we can come back on the air next Tuesday and kind of break down at least 4 or 5 of the new players.
Exactly. Like I said before, I'd like to try to go through every player in the league, kind of give them a ranking, and then do a mock draft before the draft. It's a lot of work. Maybe me and Hetes on a weekend will cruise through all of them. Anybody else would be welcome. We got 3 mics. Just a couple things to wrap us up. Remember, send us a voicemail, not necessarily John Bonet voicemail. Real questions, real comments. Let's not bring the mood down. We have a email address too. Maybe that's better, so it's a little bit easier to edit. Podcast at MNLHL.com. And follow us on Twitch, subscribe, help fund the league. If we can get enough people every month actually doing that subscription, we can actually bring the cost down to the league.
Cool.
So, Troy, first time here. What were your thoughts?
I had fun. Hopefully I'll be back. Hopefully I didn't make fun of the host too much. He'll have me back. But all seriousness, Pearcy did a great job. The studio is top-notch. Very cool setup. Cheers to Pearcy for the idea and pulling it off.
So for the crew, we are out.